A shadowy reflection of yourself, an entity that exists not in the realm of mirrors, but in the fabric of reality itself. This is the essence of the doppelganger, a spectral double that walks among us unseen yet deeply unsettling. Lore whispers that these ghostly twins are harbingers of misfortune, appearing in the periphery of our lives to mimic our every move. They are the silent echoes of our existence, their presence often foretold by an unshakable sense of dread, and an inexplicable chill that runs down the spine. Throughout history, tales of doppelgangers have haunted the human imagination, weaving through cultures and eras with a common thread of eerie familiarity. Some say they are omens, portents of death or disaster, arriving unbidden to warn of impending doom. Others believe they are malevolent spirits intent on sowing fear and uncertainty. Whether glimpsed in a fleeting moment or encountered in a disorienting face-to-face, these phantom doubles challenge our perception of identity and reality, leaving us to question what separates the self from its shadow. Welcome back to Sleep with the Lights On. We'll see you on the inside. Folks, welcome back to Sleep with the Lights On. As you heard in the opening monologue today, we're diving into doppelganger lore, doppelganger stories. They're a hit. People love them. Have you ever had someone say they saw your doppelganger?
I feel like I have, but I don't think people have seen my doppelganger. I'm one of a kind.
Sure. Yeah. That is not true. There's someone just like you on Instagram. That is, I'm almost positive an account of yours that is trolling and trying to make you seem cooler than you are, but it's fine. You know, whenever someone on YouTube or socials is like, I believe in Christian, he's the best. I'm just like, Christian, is that you? No, like it's probably annoying to this point. People are like, wow, Scott, but it's honestly the funniest thing that I can do. And this person was commenting on Instagram saying that you are clearly the intellectual of the podcast, and they hope you know that. Bobby, if you're out there listening, I run the Instagram. Okay? Hey.
That doesn't mean you're intellectual.
No, but unfortunately for you in this, I have to have some fun with Bobby to show him that, hey, if you're listening to the podcast, I'll show you the intellectual, all right? I'll show you the intellectual by exclusively doing less editing. And that's it. That's all I got to do. I'll be like, the first 10 minutes of this episode, I forget which one it is, I'm going to lay off on the editing.
Why'd Bobby hurt you so much with that nice little comment?
No, it's not even hurt. It's that it's like a backhand to me without saying anything about me, which happens to you enough. But the people that do it to you are also like joking around. You know what I mean? We're like, ha ha ha, hey Christian, beans, you know? I've made it lighthearted and fun and wholesome to me. But maybe you go home and cry. I don't know. But yeah, when people are like full on skeptics or whatever, and they come at me, it's usually just to call me an idiot or say that I don't know what I'm talking about or I'm stupid and hey, guess what? You're not just wrong. You're stupid. And that's quoting Cat in the Hat. So maybe I am a little stupid, but it's fine. The movie, not the book. That line was not in the book. That's our friend Mike Myers, friend of the show. Don't ask him about it. Don't ask him if he's a friend of the show. He just is. You just need to know that, okay?
Of course he is. He's a Canadian.
There you go.
And he likes hockey. Of course he's a friend of the show.
Okay. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
Not
so
as
now
funny
we got that out of the way.
Yeah, it's not as funny. He's not as funny as that little rant you just had over somebody saying I'm intellectual.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, look, I help along your case most of the time with my editing. I can make myself look stupid or I can make myself look very smart. It's all the power of the editing. I'm the puppet master.
Do you ever think it's not the editing, it's what I say when I'm being skeptical? Some people are just skeptical like me.
No, well, I mean, if we went through the history of time of this show and we looked at all of your examples of what things could be, I promise you 98% of them, you're like 0% chance. 0% chance.
I mean, there's a lot of things I'm like, well, it could be this, but most of the time I know that it's in our head.
Yeah. And so, but no, I'm just saying, just for Bobby, I laid off the editing on like the first 10 minutes of one episode to say, okay, here's your God. Here he is before you. Sans free of editing, of course. But
I hope you feel better about yourself.
I don't. While I was doing it, I'm like, this is kind of fucked up. I was like, hey, you know what else is? This show. Boom. No, my main thing is people don't need to inflate your ego. You got a big enough ego as it is, you know? Look at this guy over here, smug as shit, talking about ghosts don't exist. Come on, get out of here.
Dogman doesn't exist.
And we're back.
Demons probably don't exist.
Probably being the key word, but...
And ghost might be leftover energy.
You got to know how self-righteous you got to be like, everything I say is gospel.
Now I'm ready.
I know what exists because I've never seen anything.
Now I'm ready to take on doppelgängers.
Okay.
I've never said I know nothing exists. I'm saying these are my theories, and they're not as paranormal as yours.
Well, clearly. But see, I at least entertain your theories as being a possibility. I'm like, maybe, but definitely not.
You have never entertained one of my theories. What else
is me sitting here listening to your theories doing, except for entertaining them? I'm like, okay, you can continue. Yeah, go on about how it's probably they had some bad grape juice and then a demon popped out of their butt. Yep. Yep.
I feel like I sit here and do the same to you. Just listen to your stories about...
No, these aren't my stories. These are the stories of the world. These are the world's experiences I'm presenting you with.
I feel like, and it's probably in last week's videos, but we made a little like snide remark about the state of affairs in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like what you just said is connected to that. Maybe we shouldn't trust everything out there in the world.
Trust nobody except for the freaky deaky. Well, I'm going to get into the story. No more sputzing around or... Yeah, let's get into this. This first one is called The Doppelgänger. What if I just named them all The Doppelgänger? The next one is a similar name, but slightly different. Anyway.
Then they'd all be doppelgangers.
Yes, it was planned out the whole time.
Intellectual there.
Intellectual indeed. This is by Stephanie Riffy Black. Says, I've never encountered my own, but I did encounter my sister's doppelganger once. I was a child, probably about 8 or 9. I was laying in my bed. The entire house was dark and everyone was asleep. The only light I could see was the light in the hallway. I've always seen ghosts and spirits, and I always made my parents leave the hall light on when everyone went to bed so I could see what was in the hall or in my room.
Mistake number 1.
Well, actually, that's very nice of the parents. My dad would never leave lights on. Are you kidding me? Who left this light on, damn it?
That's okay. Your dad was
My dad's not from the South. He's from New York, but I give everyone who cares? Let's continue. I often saw a dark shadow man in the hallway. He would stand in my doorway and watch me as I watched him through little fingers I held tightly over my eyes. I would always try to will myself to keep them shut, but it didn't often work, and I would inevitably take a peek. As you do, curiosity being what it is. The fingers helped me keep my eyes closed, but not 100% of the time. This particular night, I was laying in bed watching the light in the hallway. From the light came this type of misty figure I could barely make out. It was coming into the darkness of my room, and as it got further away from the light, it got clearer. After a few feet, it became the exact vision of my eldest sister. Now, my middle sister and I shared a room most of our lives, so the foot of my bed sat just beside the head of her bed. It almost served as a railing of sorts between my feet and her head. The doppelganger of my eldest sister was obviously sneaking in, almost on tiptoes, and she didn't notice I was laying in bed wide awake, watching her. She started heading toward my middle sister, who lay fast asleep, oblivious to the ghost girl that was coming her way. She crept closer and closer. The closer she got, the more my heart started pounding. What was she doing? What did she want with my sister? Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. With only a step or two between the two of them, I shot straight up in bed and aggressively blurted, "Who are you? What do you want with my sister?" It actually appeared that I frightened the doppelganger because she immediately whipped her head around to look at me with startled eyes. She then started slowly backing away from my sister and out of the room. When her form once again hit the light, she disappeared, never to be seen again. The doppelganger looked just like my sister, but every fiber of my being told me it was not her. I asked my eldest sister in the morning if she had come in my room last night, knowing full well she hadn't. She looked at me like I was crazy and said, "No, why would I come into your room?" I'll always remember that because I've never seen a ghost that looked like anyone I knew, especially someone that was still living. That's a weird one.
So this person imprinted or put the sister over whatever they saw. Like maybe in this case, it wasn't a doppelganger. It was just some spiritual demon type.
If they existed, of course.
Sleep paralysis, hat man type thing. That's
now you're just using buzzwords. Yeah, are you listening, YouTube?
Yeah, but what if sometimes these things, and I think we've talked about it before, are too otherworldly or too spooky for us to actually see, so we have to put an image we know on it. And this person, obviously Big Sister, kind of has that role, so that's the image she put on her. Instead of seeing all the crazy looking angels with all those scary eyes, they kind of tame it down to something their brain can have. And this one just happened to be the sister.
Or what if that wasn't the case? You know?
What if it was all in her head?
Yeah. Oh. It's all got to do with the brain. It's nothing on a spiritual plane anywhere. It's always right up here. That's where all the answers are found. You know why? Because we're gods, all right? We believe it. We see it. We figure it out ourselves.
There are a lot of answers up there. They're not always the right answers.
I mean, yeah.
In this case, I mean, why does it always have to be something paranormal?
Well, because when you see a mist floating into your room and then it turns into your sister, oftentimes that's out of the realm of possibilities in the real world, you know? It's paranormal, if you will.
It's paranormal because we don't have the tools readily available to see if it's not paranormal.
Yes, of course. Science hasn't caught up to the paranormal aspect of things.
Well, I mean, you're just not going to have equipment in your bedroom typically unless your parents are really weird and trying to give you some trauma as you grow.
Hell yeah. As you should, honestly.
Because we do know there's been some scientific parents who've basically set their kids up in a place where they're like, they just grow up with trauma.
Okay.
Because their parents are experimenting, or I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I mean. It's not good.
Clearly, we all are on board with what you're saying. You are the resident intellectual, and we're just following after you, man. We're just doing our part, Christian. We're taking in your great wisdom, and we're saying, yes, indeed.
I feel like I'm sitting with the doppelganger right now.
You might be. My body is still asleep in bed.
And this is Mean Scott. Who went out of his way, obviously, it sounds like, to make me sound extra dumb because somebody said I might be a little intellectual, just because.
I just didn't want to give people false hope through my editing. You know, I didn't want people to like deify you or something because I was editing you so perfectly to give your thoughts some credibility behind them.
I'm just saying.
And if anything, that's me being completely unbiased. Is I'm like, you know what? Christian deserves to sound smart too.
That tells us a lot more about you than it does me.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured as much. I just want you to know, hey, I do fight back when people talk shit about you, like legitimately talk shit about you. I got your back in those situations. It's usually on YouTube.
Thank you.
And I'm like, hey, first of all, this is a show where we host it together. So if you're against one, you're kind of against both, you know? Now we can roast each other to high heaven. But the second you step in and start roasting either of us in mean spirits, of course. And this Bobby guy could have just been, and he probably was. He obviously listens to the show. Exactly. It'd be weird to listen to the show if you absolutely can't stand one of the hosts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't listen.
It's like 50-50. You're like, I like 50% of the episode, but when the other guy talks, fuck that guy.
But you know, that's actually kind of the way like our media has been for a long time. They put
Hannity and Combs.
Yeah, exactly. It's even though we don't have those two, it's always been that, or it's been that way since probably the late 90s, early 2000s, where it's like, you're going to hate one of these guys, so you're going to believe everything the other guy says.
Exactly. It's cultish, if anything. Isn't that fun? If anything, you'd think the show would blow up because it's so divisive, right? Isn't that the in thing? Isn't that the in? That's the buzzword these days, right? Divisive.
I don't know, man. Let's try not to mimic the
media.
Yeah.
We can fight the power together. All of us, including you, Bobby. It's fine.
Oh, wait. That was last week's episode. Let's not doppelganger or have our doppelgangers on the media or you know what I mean.
Let's doppelgang the media. That sounds a lot worse.
Sounds like we're going to get banned.
Okay. Well, okay.
All of a sudden we go to take a vacation. You're on the no-fly list. What for? You were talking about doppelganging the media.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, the media.
And we meant it, damn it. Let us on this plane.
Yeah, they're very sensitive.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and that's not to say you're not intellectual, Christian, for the record. You are intellectual. There's absolutely no denying that. You're very well read. You have some questionable thoughts on things, which, if anything, keeps you from the truth. You know what I mean? You overthink it.
That keeps me from your truth, maybe.
You should underthink it. You should take your thoughts down to a lower vibration.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yes, of course. Vibration magic.
It's an actual thing to some people.
Okay, and we're back. We should get in this next story before the rest of our audience tunes out. Hey there. Thanks for still watching. This next one is called the McDoppelgänger. And that sounds racist, but it's MC in front of doppelganger, like a McDonald's sandwich, right? It's not a poke at Irish folks. And I could do that if I wanted to.
No, you can't.
Because I'm Irish.
No, that's not the way it works, man.
That is absolutely the way it works.
Moving on.
I could use the hell out of that word.
This is a doppelganger.
Now you're just saying the word. You're not even, okay, it's fine. It's fine. We know who the racist is on this show. Why can't I say the word? I'm Irish. I'm Irish. I can say it, all right? If you could say certain words because you're every race under the sun, I can say two of the words because I'm the two races, all right?
All right, let an intellectual person tell you.
Here, let's figure it out.
That I cannot say any words that you cannot say.
We can actually all say any word that we choose. Isn't that fun? Together. 1, 2, no.
But we don't get to choose the consequences of saying those words.
Hey, words hurt.
So we're at McDonald's having our McNuggets and our McFries and whatever else mix we have.
Christian.
And we found a doppelganger with us.
Christian, you can't say that word that you've been saying repeatedly.
McNuggets?
No, you said whatever other mix we have.
Mickey Mouse?
It's all fun and games when it's white folks, huh? Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's cool, Christian. Your racism is tearing this family apart. That's fine. The McDoppelgänger. Now we've gotten off track. And this one's by Carly Edney. This one honestly isn't terrifying, but it's kind of spooky. It's more like unsettling.
Yeah,
you're spooked out by just the build up to the story, but that is the way it goes as we spiral further down into our inevitable destination of being completely obsolete. And we continue.
We were obsolete from the day we evolved from monkeys. Trigger. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, Carly says, I was shopping at Walmart in Washington State somewhere on the West Coast, where I'm from, the East Coast.
On the West Coast? Like I was what other coast?
Like some out of this world Walmart experience, which any Walmart you go to is kind of an out of this world experience. But if you want to feel better than everyone else there, you just walk right in, head held high. You know.
I just realized we were on the West Coast when they said Washington.
That is a great place. They didn't put DC after it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
somebody from the East Coast would have to explain that.
I'm on the East Coast of Washington. There you go. I did it. Anyway, checking out, the cashier said, "You work here, don't you?" I said, "No." The cashier looked at me funny. The Walmart had a McDonald's, so needing to kill some time, we sat and people watched. The girl came into McDonald's for lunch break. I saw her. The girl who the cashier had mistaken me for. She walked in, very grouchy with her life, as I would be if I worked at McDonald's. Wow, little judgmental. That's fine. She ordered the exact same thing that I had ordered. $2 menu sandwiches. Okay, so this is from the late 90s. If they're dollar menu sandwiches, now they're extra value menu, somehow 400% more expensive. Where's the extra value in that, McDonald's? We want answers, damn it. I shouldn't have to spend $4 for a McChicken, you son of a bitch. It's okay. I'm going to get back to it.
You don't have to spend $4 for it.
That's right. I choose to spend $4. It was me the whole time.
But it's actually not $4 when you add in the future medical cost. The cost is exponential.
Wow. And we get a lecture. Isn't that fun?
Yeah. And I used exponential. Now
you did. Now you're that image where it's like this, and then the mind slowly opens up every frame. And by the end, you say intellectual, and the mind is exploding into the universe.
Just know Scott started this.
I did. Well, actually, Bobby started it, and then I came and I poked fun, and then Christian's going to poke fun at me, and it's a vicious cycle. And then Bobby's going to hear this, and he's going to be like, yeah, you get him. And then I'm going to have to start it again, and the cycle continues, and we move on, and we're all friends, and everything's fine. Okay, Bobby?
Some of us are just more insecure.
Yeah, Christian, it's okay. You'll get over it at some point. It does happen. Anyway, if I can go back to the dollar menu. Oh, can't we all? What a dream. She was frowning and looked unapproachable. I had been that way. I can be that way. These days, I try not to be that way.
Except for that comment about McDonald's workers. You're still that way.
I know, yeah. Ugh. Or Walmart workers is what it was.
Yeah, calm down, Karen. You're still that way.
Yeah, chill out, Carly. With a C, so I can't even say it's a K name, but it's fine. These days, I try not to be that way. I knew already that her reaction would be stiff, some mirror image stranger coming to say hi. She didn't notice me. I think about her from time to time. The resemblance between the two of us was uncanny. In a way, I wish I had just went and talked to her. It was weird.
Yeah,
Every
but you
single
were
time I close this.
judgmental.
That is true. Yeah, wouldn't that be, I think that would be really, especially for me, because I have some pent-up aggression, I guess you could say. Let me ask you this. Do you think I'm a mean person in general?
Today you are.
Did it just today?
Also,
people don't know this, but I do a lot of this for entertainment purposes. I'm not actually an asshole when people approach me most of the time. Well, I guess let's ask Christian. Hey, am I an asshole when people approach me most of the time?
I used to not think so, but this morning I'm really rethinking
you're like,
my whole life.
Maybe. Your whole life.
Like, what am I doing here?
Wow. Well, we're trying to build an audience, and to do that, you got to be dramatic. You got to, you got to be entertaining. And I feel like if at the very least we can be entertaining,
That is true.
That is true. Yeah. But if I ever step over the line with you, I want you to know that you can say something. You can be like, hey, when the camera's cut, be like, hey, don't do that next time. That hurt my feelings. And I'll know, and I'll be like, that's fine. I'm not going to roast you alive if something offends you. You know what I mean? Same with you guys. You guys have reached out to me on email and been like, hey, what you said kind of hurt a little bit. Maybe word it differently in the future. And I take it all in. I take it all in. I'm a sponge for the people. And I say, you know what? Whatever you want.
Obviously, you say that now there's something out in the universe where you're like, I'm going to make him sound dumb.
Well, that was just one episode. And it was literally just like a 10-minute, the opening 10 minutes. I'm like, here we go. Here's your boy. There he is. And it was just an episode that you were struggling, which, hey, I'll give an excuse for everyone. We record very early most of the time. Everyone struggles. Okay. But when you play God with the editing, you get to be puppet master sometimes.
And this is why we can't have good things.
Nice things.
This is a microcosm of what happens in our society.
It really is. Who's going to deny that? Who can deny that, really? But it's fine. It's fine.
You have to dumb me down to feel better about yourself.
Christian,
Thanks to a comment I didn't even make.
I know. Yeah. Look what you've done, Bobby. You've upset the man. How dare you? It's fine. We're going to go ahead and get in this final story so we can end this absolute train wreck of a show while it's still on the air. Hopefully we don't get canceled. If we do, it'd be myself doing it.
Good for business.
It would be. But I would also be the one. I'd be like, guys, sorry, we got canceled. And they're like, who did it? I'm like, well, it was me. I just stopped doing it. I just stopped. I was like, I've had enough of sleeping with the lights on. I'm tired. Let me put them off.
I have a mask.
Nice. Isn't that neat? Anyway, this final story is called Boyfriend by Justin Bieber.
Oh, I thought it was Avril Lavigne or something. It's just had a sound to it.
I'm going to start in a severe act of desperation. I'm going to start titling the stories Popular Songs in hopes to get more search results. People looking for Boyfriend music video by Justin Bieber. They find two grown men in a garage talking about ghosts. What a score. Anyway, hey, look at that. I forgot the author on this one too. Wow, someone was sleepy putting this together, and it turns out it was me. I am the idiot. That's fine. I'll get over it. Around 2020,
very intellectual.
I know. Not a great start. Not a great start for my cause. Around 2013, I was chilling in my house with my boyfriend. I went out the room to get something from the garage.
That is a really weird voice you're using.
Yeah. Well, it's because I was trying like there's like a weird. I felt an inflection in this story. You know, like a hip, like somewhat hip. You know, it says my BF.
That does not sound hip to me.
Well, it's 2013, so this is around the time I was hip. So can I have it, please? Actually, 2013 was probably one of the strangest times of my life.
Isn't that like peak hipster age?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What are we looking at?
The audience. They're just staring at us like, why aren't you guys continuing?
It's kind of creepy now that you pointed it out.
I know.
Can you not do that again?
Yeah, it's a little spooky.
Yeah.
You guys have very inviting eyes.
What's that person doing over there?
Okay. When I came back, he was outside and looked really puzzled. I'm just going to start from scratch because I was like one sentence into that. Around 2013, I was chilling in my house with my boyfriend. I went out of the room to get something from the garage. When I came back, he was outside and looked really puzzled. He told me I walked back in the room with a weird smile on my face and went outside before disappearing completely. He thought I played a trick on him. To this day, we have no explanation. This was 10 years ago, but I really felt like there were some dark forces at work in this time in my life.
Of course.
Stormtroopers from 1997.
At least they can't shoot.
That is true. Also, a year later, I was hospitalized. I found out later that doppelgangers can be warning omens if they appear to a friend or family member, usually of something bad or sickness. After this event, nothing really sinister has happened since, just completely disappeared. Weird.
I saw something weird, and a year later, I went to the hospital. I think it's connected.
Yeah, in that case, it's definitely not. Creepy, again, with the smile, though. You know, there's just something unsettling about a loved one and a creepy smile.
What if that's just our interpretation of a smile, and they're just smiling normal? We're just having a moment where we're like, ooh. And they're like, ooh.
Well, that's impossible. But I think, what if it's aliens or, you know, something that's not human in nature, and they look at humans and are like, oh, this is a normal thing that people do. And there's like, as they walk by, and you're like, well, that's not a normal thing that people do. Who was that? You know?
Well, you can't see that unless you have the glasses on. This was explained in They Live.
Oh, God. And we're back to the 80s. We did it. We found our way back to the 80s.
Late 80s.
Well, the ladies, as they called them. Yeah.
I liked how that this person was like, it was a dark entity. Like, how do you know? Just because you got the
creepy smile is enough for me. That's literally all I need. Someone could play a prank on me completely by just giving a creepy smile while they walk by me, and I will think about that for a while. I'll be like, what the hell was that? Which is weird because as a kid, I used to do the same thing. Like, if you're in the back seat and you're driving by a car, you're just like, just do stupid faces.
You've heard of karma, right? It's just coming back to you.
I mean, it is a chameleon of sorts.
How many people's day did you ruin driving by them, and they look over and just they're struggling, and they see this kid making a face?
This asshole.
And now they're like, does that kid think I'm stupid?
Mm-hmm. And the answer was almost always yes.
My parents said I was intellectual, and now that kid just gave me a look like I'm an idiot.
I'm sensing some insecurity coming from Christian at this point.
It's less insecurity and more being offended.
How dare you, if anything? How dare you? How dare you toy with our audience's emotions? If anything, I'm only hurting myself because when I don't produce the show as well, nobody wants to listen to it. So, are you happy now, Bobby? You've completely destroyed us, damn it.
Just kidding. Look, it's like this last story where the girl's like, dark entity, you're placing the blame somewhere else.
We find the dark entity within.
Now, also the story before that, the McDoppelgänger.
You keep putting gaps between Mick and something else, man, and then you get mad at me because I'm like, I can say it. Then you're just over here, the Mick Doppelgänger. That's racist, Christian. I'm not going to stand for it on this show. All right, my people have suffered enough. Have you heard?
No, I have not.
Okay, well.
Everybody hurts, as Michael Stipe once said.
Everybody hurts sometimes. Yeah. So anyway,
one of their worst songs.
This is probably one of the worst episodes as far as actually staying on track. Usually we keep these pretty tight. I mean, we used to. I mean, at this point, honestly, who cares? You know why you're here. You know what we do. Fight the power or whatever. Wait, is that worse? That's worse. Let's roll it back. Christian, what was your favorite story from today's episode?
My favorite
get out of this
story
train wreck
was the girl in the Walmart McDonald's that saw another girl and instantly thought, that girl's bitchy. But it was her doppelganger. So basically,
it was her self-reflection.
It was like an intellectual discovery. I didn't want to use that word. It's just stuck in my head.
It's fine, Christian. It's all right.
It was like she saw herself.
The shadow self.
And she made the other self seem worse. But it's really just her. Don't ever change, Walmart.
Yeah, you keep being freaky. Sponsored by, no.
Target.
Wow. An attack campaign from a ghost show. Perfect. Just what you're expecting. Yeah, that is kind of weird. I think I would probably be, it would be kind of sobering though. Like if you saw yourself, but you saw yourself as this grumpy kind of, downtrodden person sitting in a McDonald's, you'd probably be like, wow, I am glad that I've made the choices I've made. I don't want to be that person. For me personally, like I said, I asked you if I'm a mean person because I know that my entire life I wasn't. And then I feel like, the last few years I've been so stressed out over things that I get snappy now. And I'm not a snappy person. I mean, I am now, but it's by mistake only. My therapist says I'm outside of my window of tolerance.
Well, obviously
He's fucking wrong. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. He's right sometimes.
He's McFucking wrong.
He's McFucking wrong. And that's somewhat racist because I think he might be Irish. It's fine.
That is not racist at all because I was like, it's McDonald's, motherfucker.
Yeah, motherfucker. Think about that.
Excuse my language.
This is the show where we don't excuse language, Christian. It's unacceptable, and the people will comment below their thoughts on today's episode. And if that has to do with Christian's racism, hey, that's the way it goes sometimes, all right?
Yeah.
Just make sure you use big words so Christian understands. Don't use any of the peon speech that you and I talk about, right?
I just don't believe in Dogman if that's racist. I'm sorry.
Kind of. It's caninist. That's beside the point. Anyway, folks, this has gotten out of hand, as is tradition. Tell us what your favorite story was below. Or, no, I'm not going to divide us further. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Tell your friends, tell your family, share the show. Remember to find it on Spotify now by searching TFD, Sleep with the Lights On, or you can go to the Freaky Deakies podcast page on Spotify, click more like this, and it's right there for you. It's right there for you, friends. We made it simple. You just got to click that button, listen to a few seconds or the entire thing, rate that bad boy 5 stars, and say, hey, you know what? I did my duty. And we're going to say, yippee, yippee, hurrah.
Is that how we say it?
That's what we'd say. Yeah, we've practiced this multiple times. Anyway, folks, find us on social media at Freaky Deaky Pod. Submit your stories for consideration to be on an episode of Sleep with the Lights On or one of our freaky listener stories on the podcast. Send that into the gang at thefreakydeaky.com. And in the meantime, we will find you right back here next 2 weeks from now. You know what? I'm over it. I'm over it. Remember to sleep with the lights on because you never know what is lurking in the...
Be scared.